A couple of months ago, Toyota South Africa launched the new generation Corolla Quest. What's the Corolla Quest? Well, it's the previous generation Corolla, done up a little bit, modernized, changed slightly, and then of course brought in as the budget option against the now much more expensive new Corolla. So this is based on the 11th generation Corolla, but they've changed it a little bit. You can see they've made the front very aggressive with this interesting treatment over here on the front end. You've got the very slim headlights over here with daytime running lights around them. So it looks very, very neat, quite aggressive from the front as far as I'm concerned. Come around, 16-inch mag wheels, nice tires on there. You can see it's pretty low, but it does, I can tell you, give you a very, very comfortable and smooth ride, and that is so important. Of course, you come along, this is the exclusive model, the top of the range. So one of the features, of course, you've got is keyless entry and keyless go, for example. Nice features, nice touches to have on the car as well. So you've got all these sort of features on the car that you would want to have. Of course, you come around now to the rear, and another big feature and factor of a Corolla and of the Quest is, look at this 400 odd litre boot. Big, spacious, flat, square, takes a lot of luggage, and you've got a full-size spare wheel under the boot board over here as well. So there you go, no messing around with space savers and things like that. I mentioned this is the exclusive model, which means it is the top of the range, because the Quest now comes in 3 spec levels, all powered by the same 1.8 litre 4-cylinder petrol engine, giving you 103 kilowatts, 173 newton meters of torque, naturally aspirated. You've got, of course, the nice almost diffuser effect at the rear over here, very, very neat. One factor that did stand out on the launch and has stood out to me now is, from the rear it almost looks like the gap over here is too large, but it's a bit of an optical illusion because it actually isn't. It's just a strange effect that I have noticed, and especially if you are behind one of these cars, but it really is not a problem. Let's check it out inside and on the road. The real standout feature of the Corolla Quest has to be smoothness when cruising on a freeway. Just the way it handles a freeway cruise at 120, it's smooth, it's comfortable. The CVT automatic, well, it handles that very well as well. It's not, you know, you're not going to race, you know it's not a sports vehicle, but it certainly handles it very, very nicely and very comfortably. And the other thing it does is handling generally and overall. You'll see that round a sweeping bend as well, the car is very stable, very smooth, and very, very comfortable. And as we come round a sweep here on Galulis, you can see that it just really handles nicely. The 103 kilowatts, 173 newton meters of torque is more than enough for the car. The 173 newton meters may be a little bit on the low side, because remembering this is not a small turbo engine, but a 1.8 naturally aspirated. So your torque peak is that tiny bit higher, but it certainly, during this entire test, has never ever felt lacking in any way. And look how we took that bend there, that curve round onto the highway, and it just was very smooth, very comfortable. Those words just keep coming through on this test. Starting off on the dashboard, as we always do, you can see we've done 497 kilometers on this test, and I've got to press a button over here or on the adjustment stick, and you can see averaging 6.7 liters per 100. That's not bad. It's been very mixed driving, lots of commuting, lots of everything. I think that's a very fair return for a medium-sized, very comfortable car like we're in right now. You've got your controls for your radio and sound and mode over here, and you do have back here a stalk for cruise control. But what I would have been a button here on the steering wheel to scroll through the trip computer instead of having to press over there. But it's a small point, and I don't think it's that serious really. You come across to the center, and you have, of course, the touch screen over here, which Toyota now have, which is a nice, useful, easy one to work with. And for example, we're on radio now. I can go to menu, and there you see audio, phone works well. The phone setup does work well. You don't have navigation because they expect you to use phone mirroring the mirror link if you want to use anything of that sort. An eco button as well that shows you your fuel consumptions, etc. But you saw that, and also telling me I've still got 151 kilometers left in the tank. The other thing, of course, that the screen does give you is a nice clear reverse camera as well. Useful, like it. Of course, it's a good thing to have, so you do have that feature. Below there, of course, now remembering we're in the exclusive version, so you do come down to climate control air conditioning as opposed to just standard air conditioning. So that is a nice feature over there. And then below that, you've got over here very neatly USBs, of course, and your 12-volt socket over there. And this I found a very useful place to keep my cell phone, although you can't close it with the cell phone in, but it certainly is a good spot for the phone while you're driving along. Over here you have got your gear shift, of course. I mentioned it is a CVT gearbox, but Toyota seem to have pretty much perfected CVTs, so I have no complaints about that, especially not in a cruiser family car of this type. Below that you do have a sport button. Really? Sport button in this car? I don't actually see the need for it or any real use for it, but it's there if you want it. And of course you can switch off your ESP if you really want to, if you want to get into hooligan mode. But again, nothing that I would necessarily do as a general rule. Your dashboard over here is very neat. The plastics are not hard. It's not soft touch, but they're not hard. Seems very nicely done. The integration of the screen, I think, is very, very neatly done. It just looks like it's fitted and belongs over there. And you've got the stitching across here, which of course matches the stitching on the standard leather seats as well. So those are all features you do have. You look behind me, you'll see the back seat. Plenty of space in the back seat. As I mentioned, leather seats with the white stitching, and you do have ISOFIX on the back seat as well. So keep that in mind for if you want to do it, if you want to have this as a family car. One of the advantages of going up from the base model to either Prestige or this exclusive is you do get 6 airbags with this version as well. So safety is nicely catered for. I mentioned at the beginning that this is the previous generation Corolla. Now that's a South African tradition it's become to keep previous generations as the budget entry level to the next model. What Toyota have done this time round with the Quest is they made it into a 3-model range and not just one version. All powered by that same 1.8 litre engine, different spec levels, that's the way it changes. You can get into the cheapest version in manual from 260,000 Rand. This one, as it is now top of the range, being of course the exclusive and the CVT, you're looking at 327,300 Rand current pricing. That price does include, as Toyota do it, their service plans, a 3-service 45,000 kilometer service plan. Not so many years. That's the way Toyota do it, but they expect you to service every 15,000, which the average motorist is approximately a year anyway, so it doesn't actually make that much difference. Well, everybody says sedans have died and the sedan market has died. Toyota have proven to be the exception to that, and especially the Corolla Quest versions have certainly been selling well. At the launch, they mentioned that they're going to be building approximately 14,000 of these a year in Durban, at the plant in Durban. I think that maybe they'll need to up that production figure once things get back to normal after, of course, lockdowns and corona, etc. But once the market's back to normal, I think their forecast was a little bit on the low side. Let's see who's right. There's not that much choice for sedans in the South African market at this end. Can I call it the compact sedan end of the market? So if you're looking for a sedan specifically, it's not that many that you can choose from. And certainly by using the platform of the previous version, Toyota have kept the price well under control. It's very, very difficult to find anything to compete with the size, the space, the engine, and the price. But check it out for yourself. For Motor Matters, I'm Eleanor, and I'll see you next time.